After hard hits at Daytona, NASCAR says drivers are feeling the wrecks more because they are wrecking at higher speeds and different angles than they have in the past.
You want to take a bathroom break?
Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick respond by saying this.
Kyle Busch said, "I don't believe that. No way." Kevin Harvick said, "They are blunt, violent wrecks every time you hit something. Every time you hit a car, it feels like hitting a concrete wall. Every time you hit a soft wall, it feels like hitting a concrete wall." And he said, "Money is more important than safety of the car. That's the perception."
Did you go to a rave last night or something? What the hell are you doing? Like,
Big rave guy.
like you can't even, like, your voice sounds like you swallowed a frog.
Big
like,
rave
I don't know. So instead of commenting on NASCAR's comments, because we don't want to get you invited to the hauler with the rest of us.
No, I'm not.
Do you
I'm not
notice?
commenting
I
on
mean,
it.
you took some hits. Like, do you?
Well, yeah.
Do you notice a difference?
It is surprise. You know, it's been a process for me getting used to this car and what's going on with it.
Yeah, you lied about it in the beginning. I can't drive this car. That
Well, I can't hang on. I couldn't hang
the
on to it
Charlotte
for a
test, you
while.
were
12
convinced-
times.
I
Of
was
course he couldn't
crashing
drive.
like crazy.
At the Charlotte test, you were convinced you were not going to be a race car driver anymore.
He's got it down pat so good
I've got
now. He
my
ran around
spin count so
Martinsville
much higher
backwards.
than everybody else's. That,
Yeah, we saw
yeah, that too. Well, I'm not even gonna lie. Doing that in Martinsville prepped me for driving backwards out of the crash in the rain at Daytona. I don't know if you guys saw that. Like, I came off the
did.
banking backwards and drove
Yep.
backwards through the grass. There's cars crashing in front of me. I'm driving backwards, looking at the camera.
I was
I
already
drove in
home.
reverse all the.
See
well,
that
look at
test?
you. I drove in reverse all the way to the back straightaway, and it works. I didn't get stuck in the
That
grass.
test
good.
pretty valuable.
Good move.
Yep.
But, I don't know. I guess
We don't want to get you in trouble.
kind of in
so-
a mix on this because that's pretty aggressive, comments by Kevin and Kyle. So I don't know if I should spot this on or spot it off, but certainly, I think what they're saying about the car and some of the details about it, from my experience, the little impacts seem more sharp. It just seems like this car is stiffer, and you would just bend more stuff. We had track bars and truck arms, and just things would
crumple.
move a
Things
lot.
would
Things
get
would
off.
crumble
Yeah,
a
they
lot
would-
more with
Yeah.
the old car. And this car, certainly, it does surprise you. The smaller impacts seem like they're more. But I've hit some things really hard in the truck and Xfinity car and the old Cup car. And I haven't had. I remember those hits; they were huge. And I don't know. I haven't really wrecked this car super hard yet. Knock on wood. But I haven't had any really big impacts that were just really caught me off guard or anything. So, but certainly like Darlington last lap going into turn 3, for whatever reason I was like, I got to send it in here in case something happens. I locked my left front tire up, smoke it, go slamming into the wall, and I hit the wall so hard I thought I wasn't even going to come back to the line. Like it was pretty
Yeah.
surprising.
So what?
yeah.
I know you have a driver group chat, tons of conversations with the drivers and the driver council. What are you hearing or hoping that drivers will have NASCAR do to improve these, make them safer, less hard of a hit? What's the conversation been like?
Well, it's a balancing act, I think. And this is just my opinion, because there's a lot of things that this car's been a lot better for, and I haven't been doing this as long as some of you guys have, but the crashes that have, in my opinion, almost killed people, taken their lives, are the ones where intrusion really comes into play. When the cars come off the ground, the roll cage has been crushing, like Newman's crash, like Joey's crash at Talladega. So for me, looking at that, I felt, again, this is my opinion. They didn't ask me how when they did this car, but when I look at that, that is way better. We saw Harrison Burton's car flip upside down at Daytona, and it looked like the roof barely moved. So like that type of stuff, I'm really glad the car's a lot safer in those regards. But certainly it does seem like when you bounce off the wall, it's a little bit sharper. But I mean, the car is stiffer. The car's
Yeah. So
very,
it's almost like it's
from the
gonna
moment
hurt more.
I've seen the chassis, I knew that the little. I just had a feeling that these little impacts were probably you're gonna feel them more.
There's just
But
no give.
But it's safer
Yeah.
in other
a lot
ways.
safer in a lot
Yeah.
of other regards.
It
Yes,
might
absolutely.
hurt more for the little ones, but the bigger ones are less severe. The chances
But
of
I don't,
severe
I
injury-
mean, if we slapped independent rear suspension and the parts that we have on the old car and took it to like Darlington and bounced off the wall with independent rear suspension and the way the front suspension's designed, it's definitely gonna be stiffer than what it has been on thinner sidewall tire, and then, well, the tires and the wheels. I look at, I've hit the wall a lot. Everyone knows that. But looking over at my car after the race, normally when you hit the wall with the old car, you just destroy the tire would blow, whatever it was, right? You wouldn't really have a lot of debris or markings on the wheel.
It would suck you in, too.
It'd suck you in, but certainly the next-gen wheel on both right-side wheels, I mean, it looked like the wheel pretty much took a lot of the impact. Some of the sidewall was scrubbed off of the tire, but the wheel really hit the wall more than the tire did. And I think the old car, the tire would eat more of it up than the wheel.
Interesting.
So you want to go first? Because I'm probably going to get called to the hauler for this one.
I don't
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yep. Be back.
I mean, first of all, how in the world can you come out and say that we are suddenly just hitting the wall differently than we ever have this year? Like, what is that? What does that even stand? Like, what does that look like? What are these angles that we've never hit at before that we're suddenly hitting this year that we've never done? Like, I don't get that. That's one.
Wait, I missed that part.
So they came out and said that the reason why the Rex NASCAR statement was the reason why the drivers are feeling the effects now is, one, we're hitting at different angles now, and two, we're going faster than we ever have before.
Well, I would certainly agree. In the middle of the corner, we're going faster than we
the
ever
corner
have before.
speeds are definitely up because you're just not out of the throttle enough. Like back in the day, you'd have 1,000 horsepower and you'd have to roll out and roll through the corner. Now you're just hauling ass through the middle.
This car has no side force. When you spin it out, it snaps and you're backing in the wall.
Yeah.
And from that regard, yes, you never would see a car spin out and crash the way like Chase Elliott's did at Darlington with their old car. You just spin to the apron and that'd be it. That's just the way this car is built. So, you are backing these cars into the wall more than you would have with the old one for sure.
Our biggest wreck, Bubba's two biggest wrecks, for sure corner speeds are up, but still, I feel like we've always hit. Like you can't tell me to this year all of a sudden we're hitting at a 33-degree angle that we've never hit at before. So, you know what I mean? Like, you're never going to convince me that we're just wrecking differently now. Guys spun out and backed in the fence. You'd see guys rear clipped, knocked to the back windshield many times in wrecks. But Kurt's was just a simple spin off of 4 rear impact. Bubba's two biggest hits were all front impacts, getting hooked, coming to the start finish line in 2 plate races. But the statements of, we're wrecking at different angles than we've ever wrecked before, you're never going to sell me on that. But then just, going to, credit to guys like Kevin and Kyle that are going to have to be the mouthpieces and stand up and say, like, listen, that's just not true. Like this is like their statements are pretty poignant in the fact that they're calling them out and saying, listen, these are older guys, the veteran guys that should be the ones leading the way in this deal, and the drivers are realizing now, they don't. The problem is you got to make these things safer. These guys are not sticking around. Like
they're making. I really do know that they're looking at and they're going to be making changes.
I think
the drivers just are like. I think the drivers really. And I can understand this point of view. They want it to be this week, but really hard to do that.
Always,
But that's a driver's thing. But obviously I can understand you wanting to fix this week because what if you have that crash?
Yeah, and I think like Kansas, Denny was a perfect example. Like Denny came out last week after Daytona, and he's like, "Listen, I had not hit yet. Like just like you talked about, you haven't had a hit. Well, he hit that hit at Daytona. He's like." That was rough. That was harder than I thought. Yeah, he took the race off this week. It was a big shot for him, and I think it was okay. Now I kind of see what these guys are talking about a little more, and hopefully you don't ever find that out. But
I do think the car overall is safer.
I think it's safer for sure. I just think it's just too rigid. I think they did a lot to.
It's definitely solid.
It's to the back. It really I think boils down to the rear of the car. I think they did some things in the front to kind of make that give a little bit better, but they really haven't been able.
There's only so much you can do in the front with the motor and all that up there.
But it just seems like these rear impacts. Bubba talked about it. We wrecked, and I might have talked about this last week. We were in that big wreck in Daytona. And I think it was Ricky was wrecking up top and just slid down the hill into the back of our car. And Bubba's like, it completely knocked the wind out of me. He's like, and he was just sliding down the hill. Like we weren't at speed. Yeah. He's like, I just don't understand. So, obviously they're going to get it better, and we're not doubting that, it's just hard to hear the drivers.
It's a learning curve, man. It's a new car. And obviously I do think it is safer though for overall. I think it's safer. Just need to maybe do a couple minor adjustments to it to make the impacts a little less severe.
keep the fires from starting too, right?
That would be good.
That
Well,
might
just
be
I
it.
mean, if as long as it stays to the Fords, I'm fine with it.
You might want that.
Same here.
You probably have been okay with that fire at Martinsville there, first race, right? As cold as it was, like 35
It warmed us
degrees.
all up, that's for sure.
I know you want to sell your home. Do it with our friends at OfferPad. Go get a cash offer right now at OfferPad.com.